as a total gearhead, is there the one that got away? Is there like a guitar that you still kind of wish you could get or that you missed, or a piece of gear?
Not in terms of guitars. I was never a collector in the early days. I regret that because, in the 70s, for example, I would have had greater access to a larger number of vintage instruments that weren't particularly vintage, like older Les Pauls from the 50s and particularly from 1960. Um, so I never kind of took advantage of that. I always believed that, guitar is what you do with it. It doesn't really matter. So most of my guitars from back then are vintage now only because I'm this old and they are old as well. So, but in the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, I did start to vary my collection a little bit and got a couple of older vintage guitars, some Gretsch and 57 Les Paul Gold Top, and as I said, the 335, a couple of those, actually a few from that era. So I don't know. I I have a telly that I use. It's a 58 reissue, and I bought it in the early 80s. I traded an SG that I wasn't crazy about at the time, and I traded it in for this guitar at a music shop that we used to deal with. And I'll tell you, I've probably written 80% of our music on that guitar. It's just, I don't know, it's so comfortable to work on. I took all the finish off the neck, so it's just bare wood and it feels great. I love the sound of it. Uh, my hands just feel so comfortable on that guitar. And for writing, that was really the one for me. That was the kind of the standard writing guitar. And of course, I used it a lot on records. But typically back then, it was a Les Paul on the left and the Telly on the right, or some sort of combination like that. Um, so I have lots of guitars, and they're my tools, and I use them, and I know them. Uh, but there's nothing that I feel like, damn it, I missed that one, or an amp, or anything like that, really.
Is there another question kind of leads to, is there ever a thought of what a beautiful book Getty did, the Book of Bass? Is there a thought of documenting these at all, either on the web or doing a book or somehow telling that story?
Not really. No, I saw what he went through, and
Yeah.
and it's a little different for him because it became just this whole exploration for him of all things bass guitar. So he started collecting, before he did the book. It's not like he was collecting for 40 years. Most of his collection is more recent. And once he got into the book, he wanted to get specific instruments or specific models and write about those things and the history and all of that stuff. Um, I'm like I said earlier, I'm a little lazy. I'm not that committed or feel a need to jump in that deeply into something like that. In fact, what I'd like to do sometime in the near future is to sell my collection. I would keep, a handful of instruments, but I'd love to sell my collection for, well, some charities that I'm involved with. I think that would be really a great way for uh, for these fabulous instruments that have been so sweet and dear to me uh, to carry on and do something very powerful and positive for the world. So that's something that I've been exploring, in fact, in the last few days.